Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm David Grote. Today, I'm excited to host a conversation that I believe is long overdue in the biopharmaceutical and life sciences industry. I'm talking about the paperwork problem, the binders, scanned logs, stacks of paperwork, and siloed systems that still define so much of GxP compliance, despite all of our progress in science and manufacturing. Joining me today is Anil Chandrupatla, the founder and CEO of Litewave.ai, a platform purpose-built to bring regulated environments into the modern AI-powered era. Anil, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, David. Glad to be here.
I start off by talking a little bit about LinkedIn activity around this. I recently ran a poll on LinkedIn asking why biopharma is still so dependent on manual and paper-based processes, which have always been seen as a major headache for our industry. Um, uh, Top answers came down to 41% of people said resistance to change, 28% cited the burden of validation and compliance, and the rest of people were pointing to cost and lack of resources. Anil, you talk to a lot of industry leaders yourself. Let me start off by asking, what are some of the most common and costly problems biopharmaceutical companies face with GxP documentation?
The single biggest problem is an operational blind spot. The reality is 80% of pharma manufacturing is still on paper. This means 80% of the most critical GxP data is dark and inaccessible. This isn't an IT problem. It's a compliance crisis. It's a root cause of why 60% of FDA 483s are related to data integrity. I've spoken with over 60 plus GxP leaders worldwide. They all say the same thing. After decades of IT innovation, we're left with paper batch records and siloed systems that do not talk to each other.
Yes, it's definitely, there's still a lot of paperwork out there. We had a joke, GMP equals generate more paperwork, right? Um, how do you see this manual burden impacting employee morale, audit readiness, and innovation for the industry?
The impact is massive. It crushes morale, creates constant audit stress, and kills innovation. First, on morale, it's exhausting. It forces high skill QA professionals into constant firefighting, spending their days on repetitive, error prone tasks instead of doing high value work. Second, on audits, it creates a nightmare of second guessing. Teams are constantly worried about what an auditor might find. And innovation, this is the most tragic part. Leaders want to innovate and improve yield and productivity in their factories. But when your best people are trapped in such a reactive mode, innovation always takes a backseat. And David, you must have seen this yourself in the industry.
Yes, absolutely. There's nothing more stressful, I think, than having a big stack of batch records that you need to go through, and you want to release the batch as quickly as possible, but you don't want to miss anything that might be in those batch records. And so much of QA work is just comparing this number against that number, and it's not a very good use of time for anyone, but it's a necessary use. It's always been seen as that's something that you have to do. Sorry, take a deep breath and just plunge in. Um, you mentioned also the data being buried and inaccessible. That's very much true. And think about all the lab data and development data, small scale data that's locked up. And if you could bring that data out so you could see that data and do multivariate analysis on it, apply modern AI methods to it, you may be able to see patterns, and I'm certain you'd be able to see patterns and opportunities for improving yield and reducing cost and improving the quality of products. So it's a powerful idea concept. Why do you think industry has been so slow to adopt digital solutions?
The industry has been slow, frankly, because until now, the cure was worse than the disease. Traditional EBPR digital systems were just too expensive, too disruptive, and way too rigid. They demanded massive, all or nothing process changes that factories just couldn't afford. Uh, we are finally at an inflection point. We no longer need that painful linear step. Pharma can now leapfrog directly into an AI ready world. Just like countries that skipped landlines and went straight to mobile phones. I mean, this is the AI ready path. It's about modernizing without the rip and replace. It adapts to your factory and not the other way around.
Yes, I think that's what's been so exciting for me when looking at your solution is the ability to leapfrog over that intermediate step of electronic batch records. I've implemented electronic batch records myself. I know how painful and time consuming and costly it can be. I also know the advantages of it once you have it. And what's really incredible about this is you can get a lot of the, our even more than the advantages of electronic batch record with this tool, and in terms of helping you see and prevent human error, and get the most out of your data, and so really powerful. You mentioned AI ready and audit ready data. What do you mean by that?
It means your data is just not digitized. It's intelligent and trustworthy. AI ready is all about context. This means a system understands the context. It just doesn't see a number 1.08. It knows it's a pH value for a specific process step from a specific batch. And audit ready, that's about traceability. This means the data is attributable, logged, and traceable. Mm, that the data can stand up to any regulatory scrutiny. The way I see this is these are two sides of the same compliance coin. Um, and let's be clear, just scanning a paper record and using OCR to digitize it does not make it AI ready or audit ready.
Yes, that's a key point. It has to have the intelligence, the metadata, to know what that value means, what that range is supposed to be. That's the information, that helps feed those recommendations on decisions. How do you see AI helping people, in particular QA, production, and plant heads? There's always a concern. People are worried about AI replacing their jobs, and how do you see this helping? So
It acts like a co-pilot for every critical role in the plant. For QA, it's like having a second set of eyes. We have proven a 95% reduction in batch review times because your AI copilot does the mundane checks for you. These agents are flagging the critical exceptions for review. Um, and for the plant heads, it moves them from perceiving a problem in the factory to pinpointing it. Uh, they finally have the data to optimize yield and improve productivity. And for the CXOs, it's delivers confidence. I mean, confidence to innovate, confidence to bring safer drugs to the mass market faster, and to know that their facilities are always compliant 24 by 7.
great. I love that analogy of a co-pilot. I think that's great, and that's so key. And I think when people ask, "Well, is the AI, autonomously making decisions?" No, it's not. Ultimately, accountability for the decision, the QA signature that's releasing that batch is on that QA person. The copilot is that, the AI system is that copilot, second set of eyes saying, hey, look over here, there might be a problem there. Look at this, there might be a problem here. And then, this data is good, can skim through that faster. So that enables that speed while ensuring that the responsibility still remains with the human in the loop, as you say. How do you handle model accuracy and explainability in regulated use cases? I think one of the questions that will come up in inspections is how does this work? How do
Yeah.
you address that?
This is the most critical question in GxP. The reality is no AI is 100% accurate. You just don't aim for 100% AI accuracy. You also design for oversight. We use a human in the loop model. The AI is a co-pilot. The human is the pilot. The AI flags anomalies, but the human experts make the final decision. Um, the AI assess. It never overrides humans. Mm. I mean, every recommendation AI does is time stamped, traceable back to the source data. Um, it is auditable, explainable, and trustworthy by design.
That's good. One question that may come up or has come up in conversation about this is EMA's Annex 22. What are your thoughts on that and how that impacts the AI industry in the GxP regulated world?
Yep. We welcome them. Frankly, Annex 22 is an important milestone because it formally acknowledges the role of AI in GxP. Um, it provides guardrails like distinguishing between static and adaptive models. Um, this is good for the industry. It builds confidence for regulators, manufacturers, and solution providers alike. Again, that's regulations are not a roadblock. They are the foundation for reliable and explainable AI. We've always embraced this controlled and transparent approach from day one.
Good. As a validation guy for many years, and having a lot of experience with computer systems validation, as well as data integrity principles, how do you ensure the Alcoa Plus principles and 21 CFR Part 11 compliance are maintained throughout the data lifecycle?
Our platform is compliant by design and not just as an overthought. Mm. The Alcala principles are embedded in every step, starting from data capture to the data processing. We enforce secure access controls, uh, tamper-proof logs, full audit trails validated to meet the 21 CFR Part 11 and Annex 11 expectations. We ensure data is bond compliant with every action being attributable and ready for inspection.
Great. Well, you've been one of the pioneers in validating AI in a GxP environment. What are some of the challenges and lessons that you've learned from doing this?
I mean, the first lesson is that validating AI in a GxP environment is fundamentally different than validating traditional software. We've designed this from day one, knowing that in this industry, there is no option for hallucination, and a miss of a critical check can be fatal. The biggest challenge is in ensuring that AI is both consistent and transparent. Our solution is twofold. First, we build an AI-ready data fabric. Our agents take your custom processes, SOPs, and process them to build that fabric with the right context and the right data lineage. This ensures our models are working on clean, contextual data from the start. Second, we built robust controls and guardrails inside our Lightwave agents to keep them reliable and compliant. This combination of a contextual data fabric, guardrail agents, and the human in the loop model for when in doubt is what makes our solution trustworthy for GxP.
That's good. I, for one of the big questions, of course, in this industry is data security and privacy. Data security meaning that can I have confidence that my batch records information, my industry secrets won't reach my competitors? And from a security perspective, how do I ensure that people can't hack into the system or and that sort of thing? What are the controls that you have around that, as well as GDPR, my privacy of data? What are the controls that you have in place around those things?
Yeah, you're absolutely right to ask this. In this industry, privacy and security are non-negotiable. I mean, this data is their secret sauce. It's their recipes, and CIOs are rightly protective. Um, but it's not just about IP. It's also about the physical reality of the factory. These sites produce massive amounts of heavy data, and many have unreliable network connectivity. They need solutions that can also work under those constraints. That's why we built Lightwave as a complete package. It's not a layer on top of another AI provider. It can be deployed completely wherever the customer needs it, fully on-prem, in the factory, in a disconnected mode, in an air gap mode, or in their private cloud or in the public cloud. Now, this architecture allows us to meet strict regional data sovereignty rules, and it's all built on zero trust design principles to keep your data safe, keep these systems safe from attacks. The core promise is simple. Your data stays yours, and we just make it intelligent.
Do customers typically start with Lightwave AI?
Like most customers, they start with a simple, non-destructive pilot. And our entire philosophy has been around start small, validate fast, and then scale securely. Um, Again, this approach is critical because it's designed to answer the two biggest questions. One, is this AI real and does it actually work for GxP? And two, can my existing team use this? Or do I need to go and hire expensive AI talent or retrain my workforce? And I've already answered the first question earlier. And answer to the second question is no. We built Lightwave from the ground up to be easily deployed by non-technology people, by your existing QA and manufacturing teams. We designed it specifically so that you don't have to hire, train, and retain a new AI workforce. So we start with one compliance use case, like batch data for one product. Then they see it work on their own data with their own teams. And they're often surprised by the gaps it finds in the data they thought was already good. And that small validated win builds the confidence to scale.
Yeah, I remember you telling me a story about one of those gaps that was found by records that had already been reviewed by people, and that was a real aha moment for the company that was looking at the software. Um, no, really inspiring story there. Wanted to circle back to your founding story. What led you to start Lightwave AI?
We saw an opportunity to simplify how regulated manufacturers embrace modern technology. The more we dug in, we were appalled at how far behind pharma manufacturing was. We quickly realized it was not a lack of effort. It was an ecosystem that made innovation too difficult and risky. We didn't just choose this because it's a hard problem to solve. We choose it because it matters. These companies are making life-saving drugs and they deserve better tools. So we double down on data integrity and compliance workflows, knowing that if we can solve that, we can help them move faster and safer across the entire factory, and ultimately to optimize, their yield and quality.
It's really inspiring. Any final calls to action for the audience?
First, thank you, David. I appreciate the insights you share with the industry. My final call to action is simple. I have a lot of empathy for what's happening on the factory floor. Um, we know you're buried in paper-based records, and we know that every factory is unique. Every situation is different. The good news is you no longer have to adapt your factory to a rigid technology. Lightwave was built to adapt to you. This is not an all or nothing decision. You can start small, digitize smartly, and finally let your data work for you. The best way to experience is to see it in action. Go to our website, www.lightwave.ai, and sign up for a demo.
Thanks again. For those interested in learning more, you can visit lightwave.ai or connect with Anil directly on LinkedIn.